Well,
And can you please state your child's name for the courts?
Larkin Rory. Bagwell.
And how old is your child, Miss Bagwell?
My child's 11 and a half.
Okay, and we are here today on behalf of your child, Larkin, and where they will attend school. And can you please state your child's father's name as well?
Jensen Kyle Bagwell.
Thank you. And where do you live currently, Miss Bagwell?
Hickory Hills Condos, Ashen City, Tennessee.
Okay, and do you own this property?
I do.
And how long have you lived at this condo?
December 2018.
Okay. Was this prior to the divorce or during the divorce
During. It
with
was,
Mr. Bagwell?
yeah, we had separated. I had moved out. I was able to get that condo, and then the divorce preceded after that.
Okay.
Officially.
And does anyone live with you at that condo?
Yes, my partner, AJ.
Okay. How often is Larkin at the condo with you currently, or how often do you have parenting time with Larkin at the condo?
50-50.
It's 50-50.
So week on, week off.
Okay, and there was a parenting plan entered when you were divorced from Mr. Bagwell, correct?
Yes.
And was that a parenting plan 50-50 as well?
Yes.
And has that parenting plan been modified since the divorce has taken place?
Yes.
And was your parenting time changed by that modification?
No, not at all.
Let me backtrack real quick. When was that parenting plan modified?
I signed in November of last year.
Okay. And do you know when that became an order of the court, that modified parenting plan?
Not at all.
Okay. And why? You stated that no, your parenting time did not change with this modification, correct?
Correct.
Do you know what did change with this modification?
My understanding was we changed Christmas vacation time to suit both of our needs and kind of give everybody a better equal split of that time. And then there was an extra amendment saying that my child could not be around my mother without everyone, or could not be alone with my mother.
Okay.
And yeah.
And when these changes occurred with the modification, were you represented by counsel, or was this agreed upon between you and Mr. Bagwell, or what occurred for the modification? Did you have your own attorney?
I did not have an attorney.
Okay.
And the modification process was just up and down and back and forth and all around. And no, it went on for quite some time between us, without any attorneys being included. But no, I never had an attorney.
Okay, you never had an attorney. So you said this went on for quite some time between the two of you, and you tried to figure it out without attorneys, and eventually the two of you came to an agreement, correct? Were there issues, or you agreed with Mr. Bagwell to agree?
I agreed to agree.
Can you explain
Yeah.
what that means?
My philosophy when it comes to co-parenting has always been try to get along and to minimize chaos as much as possible, kind of keep the peace, because I thought that was what was best for Larkin. And that progressively got more and more difficult. And the parenting plan was used against me often. And yeah, I mean, it's been a road.
I understand. And on this parenting plan that you're currently operating under, Mr. Bagwell is the primary residential parent. Is that correct?
Yes, that has always been the case because when we first entered into the parenting plan process, when we first got divorced, I was the one filing for divorce. And so I felt very, very guilty. And he begged for him to be primary residential parent on paper. My understanding was it was pretty much only on paper because we have joint decision making and everything. And so I agreed to it because, again, he lived here, he had a business here, he was here. I didn't think that there was going to be a reason that it would come up, really.
Okay, so you were in agreement because you didn't foresee any issues.
Yeah, at the time when we first entered in, everything was very amicable.
Okay. Did you ever approach Mr. Bagwell about changing the primary residential parent status?
No, I didn't. One, I certainly didn't think that I would be successful without lots of money to do it, but also because he lived and worked here in Cheatham, and it was only for the purpose of school enrollment. I didn't see a reason to, when I had, honored his wishes to begin with.
Did you think there could be consequences of not honoring his wishes?
Oh, yeah. Consequences of not honoring his wishes. Yeah.
Ms. Bagwell, have there ever been any issues if there was a disagreement on the parenting plan or parenting style with Larkin?
Has there been issues? Is that what you're asking?
Has there ever been any issue?
Saying we need to limit this hearing to the issue, which is where the child should be enrolled for school.
Ms. Bagwell, right now, currently where is Larkin enrolled in school at?
Currently, Larkin is enrolled kind of in two places. Here in Cheatham, because they've consistently always gone to Cheatham. And so it's a very easy kind of review and update of their paperwork as opposed to a full enrollment. And they're also currently enrolled in Rutherford Collegiate Prep, excuse me.
Okay. And how far let me backtrack. You stated the child's enrolled in Rutherford Collegiate Prep, and that is where Mr. Bagwell is intending to move or has moved. Were you notified of this enrollment process?
No. The first alert I had of the enrollment process was getting an email or a text or an email from Rutherford Collegiate Prep asking for additional paperwork.
And were you cooperative enrolling or providing this paperwork?
It didn't seem like I needed to. I did not provide any paperwork.
Okay. Were you cooperative speaking with Mr. Bagwell about this? Did you raise any concern about the child going to the school, or were you in agreement with it?
I've never been in agreement with it. I certainly raised, dissent immediately upon them telling me that this was going to be their plan. But despite, going along to get along, I've never been okay with it.
Okay. And currently, how far do you live from Larkin School?
15 minutes. I'm not sure the mileage, but.
Okay. Tell me, are you familiar with that map that I have handed you?
Yeah. It's exactly how I get to Larkin School.
So is that the route that's the route that you use, and
yes.
It's about 15 minutes, correct? Yes. Okay. So, Your Honor, I'd like to introduce that as Exhibit A for the distance from mother's home to the middle school.
Exhibit 1, I guess.
And then currently you're about 15 minutes from Larkin School, and where Mr. Bagwell was living do you know how far that was from Cheatham Middle School?
Based off of this, I would say 10 to 12 minutes away.
Okay. And up until recently, Mr. Bagwell has lived in Cheatham County since Larkin was born, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And now that Mr. Bagwell is asking that the child be enrolled in Rutherford Collegiate Prep in Rutherford, and do you know about how far that is from your home?
I know the school itself, I can't speak to the exact mileage of the school. I think it's around 50 miles. I know that where he's intending to move is also around 50 miles. That's about what I know.
Okay. Have you ever driven from Cheatham County to Murfreesboro?
Yeah, to pick up Larkin.
And about how long does that take you?
On a clear Sunday afternoon with no traffic, a full hour.
Okay. And has Rutherford Collegiate Prep, have they opened their doors? Do you know anything about Rutherford Collegiate Prep?
No, it's a new school that has not opened yet.
Okay. Do you know when they are set to open?
The website keeps saying August.
Okay. So you haven't been able to see any statistics from the previous years as to
There
Rutherford
are
Collegiate Prep?
previous years.
Okay. And currently at school right now, you live 15 minutes from Larkin School, correct?
Mhm.
Okay. And how long has Larkin attended school in Cheatham County?
Ever since they've been in school.
And what grade will Larkin be going into in August?
Sixth.
Okay. And what kind of student would you say Larkin is or has been previously?
Always from the time they started school in kindergarten all the way till this previous year. They are A, B, or all A honor. Always
Okay.
happen.
So there have never been any complaints about grades from Larkin's teachers?
No, most of the time when it comes to the teachers, typically there are like, if your child is below a certain grade point, you are required to have a parent-teacher conference, you know, when that time comes around. The last couple of years, because the kid is doing so well, they're like, you can have a parent-teacher conference if you want, but we don't need one. So.
Okay. And has Larkin made friends in Cheatham County district schools?
Yes. The current friend group that they have has been built up over the years. One of their best friends, Audrey, their best friend became a best friend in first grade, I think. And then we picked up McKendry in like third or fourth grade. And now here in fifth, we've added Skylar and Kennedy into the friend group.
Okay. So the child has more than one friend in Cheatham County schools, correct?
Most definitely.
Okay.
Most definitely.
And has Larkin ever complained about bullying issues? Actually, I withdraw that. Have there been any instances in which bullying had to be addressed with the school? Bullying of Larkin had to be addressed with the school?
With the school, no,
Okay.
absolutely not.
Okay. Have there been any discussions between you and Mr. Bagwell about any type of bullying instances?
When Larkin first got to in school, their friend group is an eclectic one. They're little delightful weirdos. And so first entering as fifth graders into Cheatham, there were incidents early on of them, you know, a name here getting made fun of a little bit, and they had come home crying. And so from there, as a mother, I told them, you know, kid, you are welcome to let your freak flag fly whenever you want. But you have to know that if you want to be an outsider, you're going to be on the outside sometimes. So you have to kind of make choices and know that, you know, if you're going to stick out, people are going to be people, and sometimes they're going to say something. So over the course of the year, what has been so amazing is where they landed by the end of the year, to where they wanted to wear their tail. They have masks and tails that they wear with their friends, and they wanted to wear their tail to school. And they had worn it a couple of times leading up. And I was like, you sure? You sure about that? Like, yeah, I want to do that. Okay, you know the rule. You're gonna let your freak flag fly. You got to be prepared for it. But that's fine with me if that's what you want to do. And they came home just beaming, saying, yeah, some people said some stuff about us because they were crawling around on all fours in the middle of school and, playing outside and everything. But they said that like, oh, I'm so much more confident now. And those people are just cowards. And I stick up for my friends. And like I said, the arc between crying that one time to it just being unflappable was awesome to see.
So Larkin has gotten very comfortable, built these connections, built these relationships, grown into their own skin.
Yeah.
In Cheatham County.
Yeah.
And so now I want to go back to Rutherford Collegiate Prep. Mr. Bagwell is asking that, or not asking, he has enrolled the child in Rutherford Collegiate Prep. Is that?
Yes.
And you were informed by getting the email from the school. Is that correct?
I was alerted that they had intentions, but as far as actual enrollment, 100%. The first thing I knew about it was getting an alert from the school saying, hey, we need more paperwork. I'm like, what? And then I was also told that I was not listed as the mother because of however the enrollment process had gone. I got listed as a guardian instead of even mother, which isn't accurate either.
Okay. And I want to go back. You said that they had notified you previously about moving.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And were you in agreement with them moving?
No.
Okay.
I didn't think I had much of a choice, but no, absolutely. I was not in agreement.
Okay. And how was this communication made when they first notified you of the move?
They called me. They said that they'd like to speak to me. They called me over the phone. They told me their intentions, informed me that because they were primary resident parent, that I basically was given the choice between a Rutherford school or a Rutherford school. I'm like, but why? I live here in Cheatham. The kid can stay here in Cheatham. Why are we doing that? And they doubled down and like, well, that just doesn't work for us. And we don't have any support here. And so it's between Rutherford and Rutherford. And the reason that Rutherford Collegiate Prep was chosen over Rutherford County was because if they were to change in Rutherford County, they would have had to have changed mid-year, which I was vehemently against. And so not knowing that there was another option or not being presented with another option, I through gritted teeth was like, okay, I guess read Rutherford Collegiate Prep. I didn't understand why they couldn't continue in Cheatham considering I still live here.
Okay. So you were not 100% on
Never.
board with this. And did Mr. Bagwell tell you why he was choosing to move to Rutherford County?
My understanding was rent on his business here in town had gone up. Rent on the house that they were renting had gone up. They didn't feel like they had much of a support system here. And so they decided that they needed to relocate to his mother-in-law's house.
Okay. But Mr. Bagwell has been in Cheatham County since the birth of Larkin, correct?
Well, we have been in Cheatham County since the child was 5.
Okay.
But
I
my
apologize.
family-
I apologize.
Yes, my family has been here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long will the commute take you to get from where you currently live to Rutherford Collegiate Prep?
At least an hour.
At least an hour. And can you explain the route that you would take to get from here to Murfreesboro?
Yeah, you would go 440 to 24 and then 24 all the way up, I think is how I've always gotten there.
Okay. Okay. Can you explain to me what that is?
It's to the school. It's the route to the school.
Okay. Can you?
To the collegiate prep, excuse me.
Okay.
To Murfreesboro Collegiate Prep.
Okay. And can you explain to me, or you haven't seen that exact route?
No.
Okay.
But it says that, it's over an hour.
Okay.
Commute.
That's okay. We can come back to that.
Okay.
So it'll take you'd go 440 to I-24. And can you explain to me the times that you'd be traveling? If school is set to start at 7:15 at Rutherford Collegiate Prep and you're operating on the 50-50 parenting time that you have right now, week on, week off, what time would you,
6 a.m. We would
Okay.
need to leave around 6 a.m.
okay. And after school, based on your drive to and from Murfreesboro, how long do you think that it would take to get back to Cheatham County after school?
After school, I would assume well over an hour, if not closer to 2.
Okay. And is that based on your,
Based off my experience, traveling 24, it's based off my experience of working and living previously in the south end of Nashville,
Okay.
and just being familiar with traffic, especially when school is in session.
okay. Is there any concern for you regarding this lengthy commute if parenting time were to stay as is? And
Absolutely.
the child went to Rutherford Collegiate Prep?
Absolutely. Half of Larkin's time with me would be spent in the car. I mean, we're looking at least 2 hours, if not 3 hours in the car every day. And if they had extracurricular activities or they had something at Rutherford Collegiate, if it were, if they needed to stay after, they could potentially not be getting home till 8, 9 o'clock. And I don't want Larkin to be in the car that much. That's not right.
And that is essentially not, we are here today for the 2024 school year, correct? And then, but long-term, you have asked for, which we are not here for, the modification,
Yes.
but that is your hope to
Yeah.
ensure that your parenting time is not spent.
In the car. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, that's, and I mean, knowing that we weren't going to be able to have it all, completed, I just wanted to make sure that the kid wasn't having to get pulled out of a school and moved to another one because we hadn't had that rest of that conversation.
And back to school currently, Larkin is enrolled in Cheatham County, correct? Or has been this
Yes.
previous year.
Oh,
And during your parenting time, are you the person who takes Larkin to school?
every morning I take them. I like to do that because that was not what was done for me with my mother. So I like to be the one to take them to school. I'm fortunate enough to have a career that allows me to work from home if needed. So if they're sick or whatever, they get to stay home with me. I get to pick them up some days from school because of that schedule as well, which has been awesome. But yeah, it's me that takes them to school.
Okay, and during your parenting time, do you pick them up from school as well?
If it's not me, it's my partner, AJ.
Okay, so someone is always there to
Absolutely.
get Larkin, correct?
Yeah.
And back to your job, where is your office located at?
In Franklin.
Okay, and you have seen and you know that it has been discussed that Franklin is close to Rutherford County, Murfreesboro, correct?
Sure.
Do you think that that would alleviate any of the issues caused since your work is closer to
No, not at all.
Rutherford County?
The child still stays in a car. I mean, the child would still have to go from Ashland City to Murfreesboro. It doesn't matter that my job's in Franklin.
So the concern is not about what you are having to drive, is that
No.
it's about,
That they don't need to be in the car 3 hours as part of parenting time. Or they don't need to get home so late if they had a thing after school. Yeah. And again, all of their friends are here.
Ms. Bagwell, I want to clarify, in regards to Mr. Bagwell moving,
Mhm.
were you aware that he had relocated to
No.
Murfreesboro?
I never knew what was happening in regards to that. I was told we're gonna start moving things, but then he changed the day that we were gonna do pickup and exchange with the kid because he was still working here in Ashland City. And so I've never known. Most of the time lately, I've been picking the kid up in Murfreesboro, but I was never alerted, hey, we're officially not in this house or anything like that. I don't know.
What were you told when you would pick the child up?
We're out here for the holiday weekend, whatever reason it was. We're out here for Memorial Day, or we out here for this, like, or the long weekend typically is what it was.
Okay, and how were you notified that Mr. Bagwell had officially moved?
The paperwork that got filed, their response to this hearing
Okay,
was how I was notified that the address had officially been changed.
okay.
That he's moved.
And in that response that was filed in opposition to our motion, I want to go back to, there was discussion that Larkin had one friend, correct? And I know that we have hit on the friends, but the relationships that Larkin has formed at Cheatham County, has it been difficult for them to form those relationships?
I wouldn't say so. They were so nervous when they started 5th grade because they were worried that, what if every year they're nervous, and like they're very affable and they're good human, and so they've made friends. But like I said, this has just been their friend group their whole life.
And has Larkin formed any relationships with any of the teachers or the faculty or anyone at the school outside of friends?
They particularly liked their science teacher. They liked, some of the coaches, like you always do. They liked their homeroom teacher. So, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and they really liked the art teacher. They finally got to take art at the end of the year, and that's their favorite thing. And so they were really starting to get into that.
And so there have been relationships formed with the teachers, and back to, or staying on track with school, just in regards to homework right now, or schoolwork.
Mm-hmm.
You stated previously that Larkin is a honor roll student, correct?
Yeah.
And does Larkin do homework while when you have PRT time, does Larkin do homework?
Absolutely.
Okay. And if you are having to commute an hour back, possibly 2 hours back from Rutherford Collegiate Prep, is there any concern about when homework could get done potentially?
Yeah. I mean, when would it be done? If not, sadly, 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, then they have to get a shower and then they have to eat. And I mean, it's a very quick turnaround when you factor in everything that needs to get done. Very little time to be human and relax.
Do you have any concern, not only with homework, but with Larkin being able to form relationships like they have at Cheatham County?
I certainly am concerned with, them leaving their friends. I myself have very close friends in Murfreesboro and see them never because of the distance. And so I'm concerned that they will not, be able to continue these friendships quite in the same way that they have been able to.
Do you think it will be difficult for Larkin to form friendships?
I don't know. I mean, like I said, they've formed friendships all right before. I'm not going to say that it's impossible. I think they can form friendships. It's just, old ones are good ones.
I understand. Okay, thank you, Ms. Bagwell.
You go by Ms. Bagwell, is that right? All right, Ms. Bagwell. You actually, this parenting plan that got amended, that you didn't have counsel for, that you were asked about, the amendment was pretty minor, all in all. Is that right?
Yes.
And I think you testified that you wanted, that both you and Mr. Bagwell wanted Christmas change to better meet the needs of both of you. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So that was pretty straightforward, easy to understand, correct?
Yes.
And then the only other amendment was that your mother would not be left alone with your child. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And was there anything about that you didn't understand? I mean, not being left alone is pretty clear, pretty straightforward, right?
Right.
Okay. And those were the only things that changed, correct?
Yes.
Everything else was the same.
Yes.
All right. And so that was signed first by you. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And that was signed, would you agree, November 28th of 2023?
Thereabouts.
Okay. And would you agree that Mr. Bagwell did not sign that modified parenting plan until sometime later? Is that right?
No idea.
Okay. All right. And you were actually notified on December 5th, or I'm sorry, December 7th of Mr. Bagwell's intent to relocate to Murfreesboro. Is that right?
Yes.
December 7th. And the parenting plan was not entered by the court until December 19th. Is that true?
I did not, I never
Well,
knew that. I
did-
knew when
did-
I signed and that's all I knew.
Okay.
I was never notified.
You didn't check with the clerk
I didn't
to
know.
see, did you?
I didn't know that was a thing to do.
Okay. Did you check with Miss Brady? Is she who drafted the parenting plan, Attorney Brady?
I think so.
Okay. You didn't check with anybody, right?
Didn't know I was supposed to.
Okay. All right. You didn't file something soon thereafter to ask for that amended parenting plan to be set aside, did you?
No, because at that time, there was nothing wrong with that specific plan. It was
Okay.
still zoned for Cheatham.
Okay. Well, actually, the father's the primary parent. Is that right?
Residential parent.
Okay. And he was in 2019 as well. Is
Correct.
that right?
Yes.
Okay. That didn't get modified, true?
Correct.
Okay. And that's been the way it has been since 2019, so over 5 years. Is that right?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. And you never filed to have that modified? Okay. And so you were notified December 7th. I believe you said that you didn't think you really had a choice. So you said, okay. You were given some choices about different schools in Rutherford County. Is that true?
Yes.
And you said, okay. Is that true?
Between a rock and a hard place through gritted teeth. Sure.
You said, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you not believe that it's logical for plans then to get set in motion to relocate to Murfreesboro, Tennessee?
Considering I had said things to them subsequent from that date, like voicing my objection. And the fact that they moved forward without even telling me that they were doing enrollment to the point that I wasn't even listed as the mother, like that seems a problem.
Do you have anything to show that you weren't listed as the mother?
I have somewhere, there was a text from Kyle's wife saying that because of the way the enrollment was, I was listed as a guardian and it was going to need to get changed.
And that it was going to need to get changed?
Yeah.
Okay. So there was no ill intent on Mr. Bagwell's part to not list you as the mother, right?
I'm curious as to why I was not included in the enrollment
Well,
process.
Did he recognize and tell you that needed to be changed?
She told me that.
His wife. Okay. All right. May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You might-
You received notice from Rutherford Collegiate Prep School.
Yes.
And it says, thank you for your application and acceptance, correct?
Yes.
And then it talks about things that are needed. Is that right? Okay. Did you send this to either Mr. Bagwell or his wife?
We sent this to the group text asking what's up.
Okay. All right. A group text between you, Mr. Bagwell, and Mrs. Bagwell.
Mhm.
Right? Okay. And you said, I just got this. How do I need to help? Is that correct? Okay. And it was said that I just added your info while I was filling this out yesterday. So you'll probably receive updates and alerts now. Is that what this says?
Yes.
Meaning you would be kept in the loop, right?
Through the school.
Okay. Well, if the school sends something to Mr. Bagwell, would you not like to get a copy of it?
Of course, I'm obligated to get a copy.
Okay. Well, that's what it appears is happening, correct?
Sure.
And that's a good thing, correct?
Sure.
And then it says, I literally just asked Kyle if he can get me the date. Did you say that? Or is that Mr. Bagwell's wife? I actually literally just asked Kyle if he can get me the
Not
date.
me.
Okay. All right. And then at the end of this exchange, you're talking about immunizations and you said, no, I don't. We'll need to get one from the doc. What did you mean by that?
You mean that I don't have immunization records, and if ones are needed, they will need to be gotten from the doctor.
Okay, you said that, correct?
Yes.
All right, and this is dated, when is this dated?
February 5th.
February 5th. Okay, so from December, early December to February 5th, some 2 months later, you were on board with her going to school in Rutherford County, weren't you?
No, ma'am.
You're and I moved to mark, this is our first marked exhibit. Well, you were asking how you need to help, right?
Again, I didn't think I had a choice.
And you were saying that you need to get the immunization sheet from the doctor for the school, correct?
Never.
But you never did? You said you were going to, right?
No, if one is needed, one will need to be procured. I was not tasked with that. I did not offer to do that. I did not procure one. Because again, I was not involved in the enrollment until I was informed by the school that enrollment had been done.
Were you offered to go look at schools in Rutherford County? Was that suggested?
I was given the opportunity between the two schools. They had already gone to a meeting about the first one, about collegiate prep. They did mention that there were subsequent meetings. And I intended on attending one as I needed to, if needed be. But
Okay. All right. You would agree, though, once a move is planned, you've got to start putting things in action, right? You've got to notify your landlord. You've got to make arrangements with work, those types of things, right?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Did Mr. Bagwell tell you that he intended on attending school in the Rutherford County area? Have you ever discussed that with him?
discussed it? No, I
Okay.
heard offhandedly that he was going to be returning to school. I didn't ask any questions about that. Nor
Okay.
did I know where he was going to be going to school.
Okay. All right. You mentioned in regards to school in Cheatham County that there was some incidences of maybe bullying or teasing or that type of thing. Those things did occur, correct? Okay. And you mentioned that, I don't know, you mentioned something about a tail. What is that?
The kid and all of their friends have like furry tails that they get from Ren fairs or craft fairs or whatever. I think Larkin's made themselves one at some point in time.
Do they pretend to be animals at school? Is that what they do?
It's pretend to be animals so much as Larkin sees it as physical exercise, and Larkin sees the masks and the tails as kind of creative outlets. Larkin creates and makes a lot of the masks that they use. And so I think it's more of a artistic outlet and physical exercise. They like to do what they call quadrobics.
Quadro what?
Quadrobics.
Quadro,
So aerobics
okay.
on all fours.
On all fours at school? Crawling around at school with a tail?
Occasionally, like
Okay.
outside on the playground,
Okay. All
in
right.
the classroom.
Okay. You live with a boyfriend, is that right?
My partner, yes.
Okay. And how long have you and he lived together?
Lived together less than a year, been together for a year and a half.
Okay. All right. And he picks Larkin up from school?
When I'm not able to, yes.
Okay. How often does that occur?
Every 3 days out of 5.
So he's picking her up 3 days out of your 5. You have week on, week off with Mr. Bagwell, right? Okay. And you work in Franklin.
Mhm.
Okay. And you said you work at home sometimes. How often, what's the ratio? How often are you in Franklin? How often are you in Ashland City at home?
Usually 2 days a week. They've changed their policy a little bit right now, which is still under discussion, but in the past, it's 2 days a week. And then
That you're home or in the office?
that I am at home. I am at home 2 days a week. And then again, anytime subsequent from that, if the kid is sick or whatever, like before the summer started, it was my last week with them before they went to their dad's, I was allowed to work from home that whole week. So that I could spend time with them.
Okay. You have one child?
Yes.
And what time do you have to be at work when you go to the office?
It depends on the kid. If I take the kid to school, I am in around 8:30. If I don't have the kid, I like to get there around 7:30 myself.
Okay. And what time do you leave when you have Larkin?
When I have Larkin, usually around 3:30 is typically my clock out period, is when I start heading. It's around 3:30.
So if you have Larkin, you're getting to work at 8:30 and you're leaving work at around 3:30. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, you understand that Mr. Bagwell has moved. He's moved to Murfreesboro.
Again, I just found out
Okay.
that was.
Well,
fine.
Your daughter's been with him exclusively for the last month. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And don't you speak with her during that month when he has her exclusively?
Yes, of course.
She hasn't mentioned that she's been living in Murfreesboro?
Again, it was very typical for them to be in Murfreesboro and for me not to know if they were in town or out of town. I didn't know sometimes if they work here in Ashland City.
Okay. So she has connections. She has ties to Murfreesboro, right?
Jenny's family, my
Okay.
understanding. I don't know if they friends or anything, but
Okay.
I know Jenny's family.
And that's Mr. Bagwell's wife.
Yes.
Okay. And you said it was typical for her to be out there with him. So Murfreesboro is not a strange, faraway land for her, is it? She knows it.
The school is.
All right. Well, if she stays in Cheatham County, she's going to be going to a different school at some point in the future, right?
This year.
Okay. Okay. So you live at Hickory Hills Condos, which is Highway 12 going out of town, and the school is north, correct? She goes to Cheatham Middle. So by the time you leave your house and get her to school, it takes you at least 15 minutes, correct?
Mhm.
And then you've got to go back to go to Franklin to work. Is that right?
Mhm.
So do you go past your house again to go to Franklin?
Yes.
Okay. And you hit the interstate, I'm assuming. All right. So it takes you what, probably 45 minutes from her school to get to Franklin at least? Okay. And you're going away from traffic when you go into work. Is that right? Most people from the south are coming into town. You're going out of town. Is that
Depends
right?
on which part of the commute you're talking about, because
Well, right.
getting on to 40 initially off of Briley is definitely heading into town.
Okay. So for a short distance, you're maybe going with in town or traffic going into town. But then once you hit 65 south, you're going away from traffic, right?
I don't know if it's away from traffic. It's just you go out of Nashville traffic and you hit Franklin traffic.
Okay. Well, are more people coming into town? I mean, you see it every day when you drive. You're seeing more people come into town than you are out of town, right?
I'm going to say that's accurate.
Okay. Okay. All right. And if Mr. Bagwell has already moved, the child's going to be in the car with one of you. Is that right?
That is part of the discussion that we plan to have with the parenting plan. Because again,
So-
I want the kid to have to be in the car.
So you want his time to be reduced. Is that right?
Ideally, no. I would love for everything to stay the same, but unfortunately, the new residence that they've chosen is over an hour away.
Okay. All right. Do you have a history of alcohol abuse?
When I was way before Larkin was born.
Okay. How far is your work from Larkin School?
Oh.
How far is your work from?
I don't know the answer to that.
What?
I don't know the answer to that.
Well, have you not checked it out?
I think it's around 30 minutes. I don't know the mileage.
Have you driven it?
No,
Have you been out to school?
no, it's not open yet.
Have you driven past it?
No.
No, why not? Are you not curious? Are you not interested?
I was going to get curious and interested when I absolutely needed to be. And we've been involved in this process.
So when you acquiesced through gritted teeth, you weren't curious and interested at that point in time?
Because I was given the options that I was given, what's to be curious about? It was rock hard place. I chose what I thought the only thing that I could do.
So you could very feasibly take her to school, hit 8:40 and go to work, couldn't you?
Sure, I guess.
Okay. Go back and pick her up and come home, correct?
But that doesn't change Larkin's 2 hours on the way home.
2 hours on the way home, going into town when everybody else is going out of town? Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm saying that I have been on those roads at all sorts of times. And no matter what, there is traffic going out and in on 24.
What time do you get home at night when you have Larkin and you've been in Franklin at work?
4:30 or so.
You get home at 4:30? What time?
Depends on the traffic.
And she gets out of school at 3, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
2:45
she's with your boyfriend from 3 o'clock till you get home at 4:30. Is that right?
Unless I'm the one picking them up.
Mhm. Where does your boyfriend work?
He's not employed right now.
He's not employed.
Yeah, he's a house husband for right now.
Well, are you married?
No.
Does he have children?
No.
You live in a condo?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But your motion is asking for Mr. Bagwell to drive all the way to Cheatham Middle with traffic coming into town the entire way, and then take her to his home on his week again with all the traffic going out of town. So she would actually be in the car much longer than she would be with you. Isn't that true?
I don't think that's true.
You don't.
I don't think it would be any longer or shorter. It's lamentable all the way around.
Does traffic tend to affect the time of a drive?
Of course.
And you drive to Brentwood Franklin every morning, and you want to sit here and tell this court that traffic's not heavier coming 65 north into town than it is south going out of town in the mornings?
I'm telling you that when school is in session and it is not the summertime, that it has taken me anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour to get to work. It has taken me anywhere between 30 minutes to 2 hours to get home from work.
Okay. And then you said that her friends, I've not heard you say anything about academics as far as academics being better in Cheatham County. I've heard you talk about friends. She will be with you 1 week on, 1 week off. Can she not see her friends in Cheatham County when she's in Cheatham County with you every other week?
Sure, but that certainly takes away from my parenting time.
And she can make friends in Murfreesboro. I believe you testified that you said you thought, sure, that was possible, that she could do that.
They're good kids.
She can have friends in both places, can't she?
Right.
You have redirect?
Yes, Your Honor, just very brief. You were asked by Mr. Bagwell's attorney about the modifications that were made in December to the parenting plan, and you had stated previously to me that Mr. Bagwell had always been primary residential parent, correct?
Yes.
And can you explain again why you allowed, there was no opposition to him being primary residential parent?
There was opposition initially.
So when you were notified, Ms. Slinus talked to you about being notified prior to the parenting plan being ordered in December. You were notified about the potential move.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And you said that you were notified via, how were you notified? How was this discussed, the potential move?
It was a phone call
Okay.
in the evening they both were on speaker and they called me.
Were there ever any messages exchanged between you and Mr. Bagwell regarding the move?
Yeah, I followed up the next day and voiced my objection. It was like, why? I mean, I live here. Why can't the kids stay here?
Are you familiar with what this is,
Yes.
Ms. Bagwell?
Yes.
And is this a message between you and Mr. Bagwell,
The group text.
the group text? And can you explain who's in this group text?
Kyle, Jenny, and myself.
Okay. And can you tell me the date this
December 8th.
group text thread was? Okay. And it's in this, is this you stating where are you moving and what are you doing with Have-A-Days?
Yes. It's me stating asking where and what are they doing with his business that's here in town, and me expressing that I live here. They have a parent in the current school system, and I didn't see why they needed to change because they were so timid to start 5th grade and they were absolutely killing it and happy to be in the school system.
Okay. And that message that you were just reading off of, it has a view all on it. Is that correct?
Sure.
Okay. If I may approach your honor. And are you familiar with this text message, Ms. Bagwell?
Yes,
And
the same one.
this is the same text message as what we just previously.
Yes, it's just the full extent of what I said.
Okay. And this text message is, you say, at this point, I'm not clear on why the kid has to move school systems. They have a parent within their current school system. I appreciate that you say it's a better system, but this is bigger than that. Larkin was so afraid to start school this year, and now you're going to rock their world just as they got comfortable.
Yes.
So you did inform Mr. Bagwell that you were opposed to this, correct?
Yes. There had been subsequent conversations even in person where I said I was not okay with it.
Okay. And your main concern about this was what is best for Larkin, correct?
Absolutely.
But you were told by Mr. Bagwell he was moving for money purposes.
Money purposes, yes.
Okay.
Mr. Bagwell, if you would, state your name for the court.
Jensen Bagwell.
All right, and you are father to Larkin Bagwell, is that
Larkin
right?
Bagwell, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and we've established that Larkin is 11 and about to go into the 6th grade, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now, when you divorced from the mother back in 2019, you were designated as the primary residential parent, is that true?
Yes,
All right, and you've held that designation ever since.
yes,
All right, and your parenting plan was modified in late 2023, is that right?
yes, it is.
And you've heard that there were 2 things that were modified.
Yes, ma'am.
One being that the maternal grandmother would not be left alone with the child, and the Christmas schedule. Is that true?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and you remain the primary parent.
Yes.
Okay. Tell the court, where did you live in Cheatham County?
When I resided in Cheatham County, I lived at 104 Booker Street.
All right, and how long had you lived there?
I began renting it after I moved out of our joint area in October of 2018.
Okay, and it was a rental?
Mhm.
All right, and when you moved recently from Boker, who was residing in the home with you?
Myself, Larkin, half the time, and my wife, Jennifer Bagwell.
Okay, so you have remarried.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and how long have you been remarried?
Been remarried since September 22.
Of 22,
Mhm.
so almost 2 years.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and what do you do for a living?
I'm a master barber, and I also own a barber shop.
Okay, and did you open up a barber shop in Ashland City?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was the name of that shop?
Abide's Barber.
Okay, and how was that business going?
Relatively well, yes. Been going well since I opened.
How long have you been a barber?
About 3.5, 4 years.
Okay, and you recently, and I say recently, and tell me when you decided, or when did you start considering relocating from Ashland City to Murfreesboro?
Well, relocation in general has kind of always been on my mind, but to Murfreesboro, it has been a topic for a bit, but undecided and unknown until like November, December of last year.
Of last year, okay. And you said relocation has maybe always been a topic. Have you ever, since your divorce from the mother, have you ever made any promises or guarantees that you were going to always reside in Ashland City?
No.
All right. Do you consider Murfreesboro to still be the Middle Tennessee area?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so November, December of last year, you decided or you started considering moving. What were the reasons behind that considered move?
There was a family support structure that I had become a part of. My wife, her family. We have a mother-in-law there, brother-in-law. There was an excellent education opportunities for Larkin. There was also a continued career path. There's also a family business that's ran there that my wife works for. So that makes both businesses for my future, which is because my business is ultimately myself, because I'm the tradesman. And so for continued education and for continued education for Larkin, myself, and a family support system that was most prevalent in the Murfreesboro area.
All right. Did that seem to make sense,
Absolutely.
both financially, emotionally, support-wise,
Yes,
for
ma'am.
the entire family, including Larkin?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And you said your wife works in Murfreesboro.
Yes.
Okay. What is your plan as far as your business?
In the future, I'm starting education in Smyrna at the school that I attended for barber school. And I also have job opportunities with him in the future once I complete the instructor program, which is ultimately what I'm going back to school for.
Is to become an
Becoming a
instructor?
barber instructor, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So there are further opportunities there, and my intention with the shop here is to move into more of a business owner position where I will fall back throughout the year into part-time, less than part-time, and once schooling begins in September, it'll be less than part-time until eventually it'll just be like maybe 1 day a week, as I'm like seeing a few of my clients that are known here in town. And this would have already began had we not been doing this endeavor that we're here now.
Okay. All right. And so you began the process of looking at schools for Larkin.
Mhm.
And well, let me back up. Your house that you were renting on Boker, that was a rental.
Yes.
Had your rent increased at all?
Yes, ma'am, it had.
Okay. And was that a concern for you?
Yes, ma'am.
And so what's your living situation? You've officially moved now, is that right?
Yes, I would.
And when was that move official?
Early June.
Okay. And what is your living situation in Murfreesboro?
We have a lease with my mother-in-law, and we occupy the entire top space of her home, which she does not. She's a single woman. It's a very large home. Upstairs, Larkin has her own bedroom and private bathroom. We as well have our own private bedroom and private living area.
Okay. And is it actually maybe a more pleasing living arrangement than on the Boker house here?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
All right.
She has access to a pool. She has access to so many things that she really enjoys. Yes.
Okay. And are you paying rent?
Yes.
Okay. Is your rent comparable to what you were paying here?
It's more affordable.
Okay.
Which ultimately is another reason why I chose Murfreesboro, is because as our financial choices, we would like to buy a home together. The home access there is much better, which has been a hot topic in the county for a while.
Sure. Okay. All right. So you started the process of looking at schools in Rutherford County. And what guided your look? What were you looking for in a school for Larkin?
We were looking for something that would be a little bit more structured. As Larkin has stated, she has very good grades. She is an AB student at minimum, and generally an A student. And when we wanted to still be able to encourage that, we knew that there had been problems with the local school system on and off for a while, but especially over the last year, as they were growing into a young person, she had just really started to struggle, and there was a lot of bullying issues. Some of the issues with her friends growing in different ways, to where like their own personal mental health issues started to stretch thin on some of those relationships. And Larkin was not getting out of here and with the connections here that she once had when they were younger.
You feel like she had kind of grown apart from some of her friends maybe, or going a different direction? Okay. And so scholastically, did you review the academics between the two school systems?
Yes, we thoroughly looked over at how math percentages were higher. Reading and everything was higher in the county there. Also, even reading studies about charter school programs and how Tennessee is one of the states that saw an uptick in education performance in the charter program system.
And is this particular school that you now have Larkin enrolled in, is it a charter school?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And does it appear that the student to teacher ratio will be better for Larkin
Much better. It's, I believe, around 16-1.
versus, do you know what the student ratio is in Cheatham?
I can't really, you have to excuse me, I can't pull the
That's
information off
fine.
the top of my head, but I believe it was higher around closer to 20 plus.
Okay. All right. And so when did you notify the mother first? Do you recall about the move to Rutherford County?
It would have been the phone call that we gave her in early December, explaining that what would be the best financial decision and potential future for us, our family, was to move.
And did you offer her choices or to consider in the school system in Rutherford County?
Yes, we had recently uncovered the charter school system that was opening, so that would facilitate an easy, smooth transition for Larkin. And so we had that as an option, and we gave her other options as well that we had available.
Okay. And to your knowledge, did she ever explore those options?
To my knowledge, I don't believe so, other than in conversation.
Okay. And at some point in time, there was an application that was filled out. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you provide the school with the mother's information?
Yes.
All right. And if you would tell the Corps about the schools, like how do they communicate with parents and notify parents of events and those types of things?
We, in the new school system,
Yes.
at the Rutherford Collegiate Program, we receive emails, we receive text messages, congruently stating for, hey, we've got a meet and greet now. We've got this event here. These are the things coming up. Get ready. Hey, have you checked out our new campus that's almost finished? Like, here's pictures of it. So I get those pretty regularly, at least a couple times a month.
Okay. And to your knowledge, is the mother getting those notices as well?
Yes.
Okay. And did you start making arrangements to move after you had the early conversation with her in December when she didn't oppose the move?
Yes, we did.
What events did you start putting in motion?
We talked it over with the child. We made plans with our landlord here. We made concrete plans with where we were moving to there. We started with employment at the shop here in a different avenue, so that way we could transition back,
Okay.
or that way I could.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness, please?
You might.
What is the mileage between the mother's home and your home in Murfreesboro?
45.2 miles.
All right. And that's less than 50 miles. Would you agree?
Yes.
And Sir, you're familiar with your parenting plan, is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am, I am.
And you've reviewed the provision about relocation, right?
Mhm.
And does it reference 50 miles?
Yes, it does.
All right. And is it your position that your location from the mother's home is less than 50 miles?
Yes, it is less than 50 miles.
Okay. All right. But nonetheless, you provided her notice. You've discussed the move with her. You have joint decision making, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you believe that you have included her in those decisions in regards to education?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you heard the mother testify as to traffic. If you are driving, let me ask you this. Have you driven both to Murfreesboro and from Murfreesboro back to Ashland City?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And if you're driving in the morning going to Murfreesboro, what has been your experience about the traffic that's coming towards Ashland City? Is it heavier or less than the traffic going towards town?
Going towards Murfreesboro from here is very smooth.
Okay. And coming from Murfreesboro to Ashland City?
It's very congested.
Okay. All right. And that's during rush hour,
Yes,
correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And we're going to call rush hour in the early morning when people are going to work.
Mhm.
Okay. And then what about in the afternoon?
In the afternoon, it is reverse that, where there's a lot of traffic going from Nashville into Murfreesboro, and going from Murfreesboro to Nashville in the afternoon is pretty smooth.
Okay. And you've seen and experienced both, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. So when the mother says that she doesn't want Larkin in the car,
Mhm.
which would she be in the car less with her or less with you if you were bringing Larkin to school in Cheatham County and picking her up in the afternoons?
She would be in the car less with me she would be in the car more with me for a longer period of time if I were driving her here.
Okay. All right. So if the two of you are going to continue to share equal time, which equal time is what you have,
Mhm.
being in the car with her mother is the lesser amount of time. Is that correct?
Agreed.
Okay.
And I would even think that it would be more time with the mother due to driving to the school and then 30, right, less than 30 minutes from work or what have you, versus dropping off and then having to backtrack for an hour to get to work.
Which is what she's doing now.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about school times. What time does school start in Cheatham County right now?
Earliest drop off is 7:15 at the middle school, I believe, and bell rings at 7:45.
7:45. All right. What time does school start at Rutherford Collegiate Prep?
You have to forgive me, I'm trying to remember exactly what that is because it was just announced, but it's either 8 or 8:30.
Okay. So there would be no reason to get Larkin to school at 7 o'clock in the morning as the mother testified, right?
No.
So if school starts at 8, she could actually leave by about 7 or quarter till and still get there in time. Is that right?
Which is the time she leaves now, I believe.
Right. What time do you think you would have to leave Murfreesboro to get her to school at Cheatham Middle
Oh, boy.
with rush hour traffic?
Between 5 and 5:30 at it really and truly, probably. About 5:30.
Okay. To get here at 7, would that get you here about 7 or 7:30?
It could close be about 7:30,
Okay.
7:15, 7:30.
Okay. And the school is located at what address do you know? Is it Manson Pike?
Yes, ma'am. 4420, I believe.
Okay. And friends, you heard the mother talk a lot about friends at Cheatham and friends maybe not in Murfreesboro. Has Larkin made friends in Murfreesboro?
Friends her age, other than like meeting her cousins, and family, that's the only thing we've had opportunities so far.
Okay.
But yes, she does have, extension group.
All right. Will she have the opportunity to meet friends in the neighborhood? Are you in a neighborhood?
We are located in a neighborhood in a cul-de-sac.
Does this school have school programs like every other school that she can participate in?
Yes, ma'am, they do.
Does it have a before and after care program for middle school students?
Yes, it does.
Okay. And is that something that Cheatham Middle offered for Larkin?
Not at this current grade.
Okay.
No,
So there's
they
no
do
at Cheatham Middle, there's no before or after care program. So that would be available if mom needed to work late on her week. Larkin could stay late at school, or if she needed to get her there early, she could go to the early care.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And that's
You-
the other. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
go ahead.
That is part of the support system as well, within Murfreesboro, between my brother-in-law, who is employed by the Rutherford County public school system now, and family members, mother-in-law. If there was ever a need for the child to get to school or get home from school and it needed to be helped, we have ample support team in our family that can help make that happen in Rutherford County.
Did you have that here in Cheatham?
No, we have not over the last school year at all.
Okay. And really the only relative you have mom here, right? The mother. Okay. And then her mother, does she live in Cheatham County?
Yeah, she lives on the border.
Okay. But the parenting plan prohibits the maternal grandmother from being alone with Larkin. Is that right?
Yes, it does.
All right. So you're not trying to diminish the mother's time with Larkin. Is that true?
Not at all.
Okay. And do you truly believe that this move is in your daughter's best interest?
Absolutely, I did.
All right. And do you believe a fresh start at a new school is in Larkin's best interest?
Undoubtedly, yes, I did.
When did you first find out that the mother was opposed to this move?
Whenever I was served, honestly, with the motion.
Or with it was, you were served with the petition
Yes, ma'am.
to
with
modify the
petition.
parenting plan? All right. But from your investigating the relocation, is it true that you discussed it with the mother?
Correct,
Is it true that she was not opposed?
correct.
Okay. Is it true that she offered to help when she received the notice from the school, from Rutherford County, or from Rutherford Collegiate Prep School?
Yes,
Okay. And have you had multiple discussions with her about different, looking at the different schools and that type of thing?
yes,
Okay. And then boom, you're served, and that's when you discovered she was opposed.
yes,
Okay. But plans had already been made. Is that correct?
yes, ma'am.
All right. Are you asking the court to allow Larkin to continue to be registered? And just to be clear, she is registered at this school and set to attend. Is that right?
Yes, she is
Okay.
registered at this school and she's not registered in Cheatham County School because they can't.
Okay. That she's no longer registered at all in Cheatham Middle School.
Yes,
Okay.
That you don't have to move, Mr. Bagwell. There's no necessary requirement of you having to relocate, correct?
other than I'm no longer in a lease and have nowhere to live here.
But there's no requirement. That answers my question. And isn't it true, you just said on the stand a few moments ago when you notified my client that you let her know that you and your wife were moving due to financial reasons. Is that correct?
A financial decision we had made with our family, yes.
And you don't own the home that you're moving to in Murfreesboro, correct?
Correct.
And you claim that you are paying rent and you have a landlord. And who is your landlord?
My mother-in-law,
Okay. And how much are you paying in rent?
I believe 800 a month. We're just now starting that.
Okay. So you're paying a nominal amount in rent realistically.
Yes,
Okay. So you are moving, you are relocating due to financial issues, paying a nominal amount in rent, but you are asking this court, which I'm not addressing the radius, but you're asking this court to let the child go to school near you. Have you signed a lease?
yes.
And are there any terms in this lease as to notification for if you're to move out of the home or if your landlord is going to terminate the lease? Is there any requirement in regards to that?
I can't recall that information off now.
Okay, so it's a possibility that your wife's mother could get upset with all of you being in her home because you just moved in and you were paying only $800 in rent, which is fairly cheap.
No,
And there's a possibility that she could kick you out.
no, the lease does cover that. Yes, it does. It does
Okay.
assure a place to live
Okay.
as any standard lease would.
So you and your wife, and when Larkin is in your care, will be living upstairs of your mother-in-law's home.
Yes,
And is there anyone else in the home?
no,
Does your mother-in-law live in a neighborhood? Does she?
yes.
Okay. And how will Larkin get to school at Rutherford Collegiate Prep every day?
It will either be myself driving her or my wife.
Okay. So you have a business here currently, and you've claimed that you are going to go back to school. Is that correct?
Correct.
And what will the schedule be for your schooling?
That's kind of open, but generally the school itself opens around 9 and is there until 6, but it works with your schedule as you need it to be. It's very flexible.
Okay, so will you or your wife will be able to pick her up or pick Larkin up from school, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And will you be working at your business here as well? I know that you mentioned you may come back every now and then.
Yeah, there will be a part-time element at some point, but I'm transitioning to being a business owner. So I will not be there full-time.
Okay, so you won't have set hours that you have to be in the office by, or not like a 9 to 5 or set meetings unless you might have an appointment, correct? But you can schedule that around your parenting time with Larkin, is that correct?
For right now, until of course I become an instructor, in which case school starts at a certain time.
Okay, and what occurs if you were late? Do you know what will happen if you're late while you're an instructor?
No, I don't know that yet. But
Okay.
like I said, it's pretty flexible.
And there could possibly be repercussions, but you stated you'll have rigid timeframes. And you also stated Rutherford Collegiate Prep starts at 8 o'clock, is that correct?
I don't have that number in front of me, but I
Okay.
did just recently read it.
And so if Rutherford Collegiate Prep starts at 8, do you think it's reasonable that my client would have to drive from Cheatham County to Murfreesboro to drop Larkin off and then over 30 minutes to her office? Do you think that's reasonable? Do you think that that could possibly affect her job if she's going into the office late all the time?
I do think it's reasonable.
Do you think it's reasonable that she could lose her job if she's late, but you don't have a set schedule like that?
I believe from what I heard, she does have flexibility with her job hours because sometimes she's there early and sometimes she's there later. And plus, there's times where 2 of the days she's also working from home. So I believe I've heard flexibility is a matter that we both happen to have.
Flexibility that is true. But if you are owning and running your own business, I think that would lend you a little bit more flexibility, don't you think?
It just depends upon what clients need. I have clients that have set times needs as well.
Okay. Will you remain in your Inhabitage right across the road here? Will you remain in that office building?
I believe so,
not?
but I'm not under a leash right now, so we haven't decided.
Okay.
Or I haven't decided.
And prior to relocating, how long did you live in Cheatham County?
I believe late 2015.
Late 2015. And where are you from?
I'm originally from Alabama.
Okay. So I know you said that you have no ties in Cheatham County and now your ties in Rutherford are your wife. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And isn't it true that before modifying this plan in December, you never notified mother of your intentions to leave to go to Rutherford County?
No, that's not true. I've made it a clear since the dissolution of marriage that one reason why I was not purchasing a home at that time was that I would not know where I would wind up. But as of right now, that is why, and that is why I entered a rental agreement at the time.
When you entered into this modification, you had been here since late 2015, and it was reasonable for mother to believe that you would be staying here because you didn't inform her of this intention to move.
I can't speak on that. Do you mean this exact move?
This move to Murfreesboro, which you informed her of very shortly after executing the parenting plan.
The only reason why we notified the mother when we did was because of the opportunity for education literally came across our knowledge then, which would make that became a conversation where we talked about the potential of moving into the very strong likelihood. So the first thing we did was schedule a conversation with Larkin's mother.
Okay. But isn't it true when you first notified her that education was never brought up about your reasoning for moving? It was solely based on financial issues so that you could move in with your wife's mother-in-law
No,
and
education.
save money.
Education has always been a topic.
Isn't it true that you acknowledged in the response that there aren't major educational issues with Larkin's grades themselves?
Yes, she has managed to have some very good grades, but it's not just a matter of her grades. It's also a matter of discussion that we've all had regarding our feelings on the education system that they're a part of right now here in Cheatham, or they were a part of before now.
So you have had discussions with Larkin based on the education that she's been getting in, or they've been getting in.
Only when we help with their homework, but
Okay.
no, we've actually discussed that before. The mother has even discussed problems with Cheatham County schools for a while.
Okay.
I mean,
And are you aware of what Larkin's grades were this past school year?
I am.
Okay, and can you? Tell me that.
Hey, yes, she managed to get straight A's this year and also was going home after school up until the 1st of January, 80% of the time with either myself or my wife. And we were helping them do homework and everything for school. So yes, she has great grades. And we maintained a pretty strict rule about that in our house, about really trying and applying.
Okay. And you guys have been exercising 50-50 parenting time. And so Larkin is with Miss Bagwell 50% of that time. So I believe that some of that could be obviously isn't it reasonable to say Larkin is not going to Miss Bagwell's and just forgoing all of their homework or things of that nature?
No, like I stated, on her weeks, she was going home exclusively with her mother, starting after the 1st of January of 2024. The first semester of the school year, she was going home 80% of that time, those 3 days with which the mother was not working at home because there was no one to pick them up. They were riding home. Either myself or my wife Jennifer were picking her up and doing after school homework.
Isn't it true that mother was letting you pick up Larkin instead of having someone else during her parenting time because she was attempting to co-parent with you?
Yes, but there was also not another option because Larkin refused to be around the maternal grandmother.
Have you met? We will move on. You claim that you have these relationships in Rutherford County we spoke about, and does Larkin have any blood relatives there?
Her father.
Okay, and Larkin's mother is here in Cheatham County, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so would you agree that by asking the child to go to this new school and be picked up by your wife, you're almost insinuating that your wife is now Larkin's mother? You have notified Miss Bagwell of this move 1 week prior to the modification, or after the modification was executed. Is that correct?
Yes.
And when you notified Miss Bagwell, you informed her that it was based on financial issues because you couldn't afford your rent any longer. And you were going back possibly to school, but you were going to save money by living with your wife's mother. Is that correct?
It's a bit strong there on everything you said, but we did notify that it was due to financial decisions and to an education concern or
Okay.
education availability for both Larkin and myself.
Okay. So you claim that the financial situation when it comes to rent is better in Murfreesboro than it is here. Do you have any evidence to support that, Mr. Bagwell?
In order to purchase a home, I can tell you through the research that we've done, because my wife Jennifer and I have looked in Cheatham and we've looked in Murfreesboro, and the per square footage price, which again, this has been a topic locally for the past year, is much more affordable in Murfreesboro than it is here in Cheatham County. Which that is our goal, to purchase a home.
To purchase a home.
Correct.
Okay. But right now you couldn't afford your rent here, so you had to go live with your mother and pay a nominal amount of rent, correct?
It could be afforded, but we were not going to be able to continue that for a sustained period of time. So before it became an issue, we acted responsibly with the child.
Okay. And you stated that there's no necessity that you move. Nothing's requiring that you move. Would you agree that prior to making this decision to move, you did not consider the hardships that it would cause on your child?
I consider my child with every step I take. I consider my child with every decision that we make before it's made. It's the reason why we discuss it as much as we can before we make them.
So would you agree that you're now saying you think it's in the best interest of your child to travel over 2 hours and wake up at 5:30 a.m. to get to school?
Well, I don't think that would be necessary, but no, the best thing would be, as we originally had laid this out, was that the mother would relocate as well, because the support system, which has been laid out, would absolutely and is still open to helping her in any way possible. And there was no longer a support system here in Cheatham County, evidenced by the fact that we had to step in as the other parent to pick up Larkin on her weeks. Understandably, that is difficult. As they've stated, they have several best friends that are in Murfreesboro. So they too already have a support system there. And since we are discussing drive times, it is substantially closer to her current job. One of the reasons we moved to Cheatham County was to be closer to a job that she no longer has, and to be closer to family with which we no longer interact. So there is no reason to remain in Cheatham County, but for the same reasons we came to Cheatham County, there are reasons to relocate to Rutherford County.
Isn't it true that Ms. Bagwell owns her home, has a stable home, and has owned this home since 2018?
Yes, that's true.
Okay. So you think it would be reasonable if your child, Larkin, is with Miss Bagwell at her home that she owns and has lived at since 2018 to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to have to get to school, and then for my client to drive from Rutherford County or from Cheatham County to Rutherford on 24, which I think everyone knows is one of the worst interstates, and then from Rutherford County back to Williamson County to go to work, and then back to Rutherford County to get the child back to Cheatham?
I don't think.
Do you think that's reasonable?
I don't think that's what's being asked. So that's why I have a problem. I don't know. They can't really answer the question like that, because I think, as we've stated, school's not starting until 8. You won't have to. Since traffic is lighter going that direction towards the school, that won't be an issue. As a matter of fact, I personally, while being worried about this over the last few months, have looked to see what the drive time would be like in the morning. And the average time in the morning adds anywhere from 13 to 18 minutes. So I don't think that's unreasonable. But I don't see why 5 a.m. is what you're asking me about.
In between 5 or an earlier time to get the child to school. But did you think about these hardships on the child, or think about if the child, have you thought about what will occur if Larkin is enrolled in an extracurricular at RCP? I'm not positive what time extracurriculars end, honestly. Sometimes they can last an hour after school. Sometimes they can last 2 or 3 hours. It can be very short. But have you thought about the hardship of that drive if Larkin attends extracurriculars back to Cheatham County? That could be difficult on Larkin. When will Larkin do their homework?
Well, Rutherford Collegiate Prep offers homework is completed at the school, so that shouldn't be an issue. They've actually stated that in some of the information they provided to every parent. So I don't think that there will be a strong hardship on Larkin at this point at all.
And Rutherford Collegiate Prep has stated this online, but they've never put it into practice, correct? Because it's not open.
They are, because they actually have another school that's the Davidson Collegiate Prep that is operating currently, and that is how they run.
Okay, but where Larkin would be attending is not open. Is that correct? Rutherford Collegiate Prep.
Yes, it's opening now.
Would you agree, based on everything we've spoken about today about financial hardship, your relationship with your wife's family, the fact that Larkin's mother is still here, that the only reason you're wanting to move to Rutherford County and have Larkin go to Rutherford Collegiate Prep is because it is convenient for you, but you have not thought about what is best For Larkin, when it comes to her relationships with peers, when it comes to how long she is in the vehicle a day, would you agree this is for your convenience?
No, I think it's betterment for the child and their opportunities.
So you don't think that this could have caused any issues with the relationships at school that Larkin has formed?
The relationships that Larkins has formed has currently no, she will be here in the county to reside. She can see which friend she wishes to. She recently broke up with her boyfriend, so there's less people here than is even being reported. But when given the opportunity, she also had those friends actually come and visit at the Murfreesboro home. We've had multiple sleepovers with some of them already in this summer. Their parents have stepped up and said that they would even be willing to meet us halfway for such events on the weekends or anything of that sort. So no, we're going to continue to facilitate those relationships as much as we can.
Isn't it true that in your response to Ms. Bagwell's motion, you stated that Larkin had some issues with bullying?
Yes.
Does that not raise a concern that she has now, I guess you could say, found her place in Cheatham Middle School, and you are going to rip her from those relationships that it has taken her to so long to form?
Her relationships with a couple friends has strengthened, but that was the same friendships she had at the beginning of the year. And now that we're in the summer and she has the same friendships that she's had. So I can't say that they've really grown or anything like that, but we will be continuing them as much as we can. We will be transporting the child to whomever they wish to stay the night with or anything like that. So we'll be continuing those relationships. And no, I think she will make new, long-lasting relationships as well at Rutherford Collegiate Prep.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Bagwell.
If you're financially in a better position in Murfreesboro, does that help your daughter?
Yes.
Okay. Does that allow you to have more time to dedicate to your daughter?
Yes.
Does it allow you to have more money just to maybe, whether it be to give her opportunities that she might not have had here?
Yes.
Okay. And do you believe that that is in her best interest?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay. Do you believe home ownership is in the family's best interest, which would include Larkin?
Yes.
Okay. And are you in any way, shape, or form trying to limit Larkin's time with the mother?
No.
And in fact, she'll continue to have equal time with Larkin. Is that correct?
Yes.
And actually, you had notified the mother of the move or the intended move prior to the modified parenting plan ever being entered by the court. Is that correct?
Yes.
The school, it's a brand new school. You've looked at it, you've given the mother the opportunity to look at it, and you believe that it's a good fit for Larkin. Is that right?
Yes, I do.
All right. Are you asking the court again to allow her to continue to be enrolled and to attend the school?
Yes, I am.
Thank you.
If I'm understanding you correctly, the main reason for your move was your remarriage and to be closer to your wife's family and the extended family that she has and the economic advantages that it offers to you, correct?
Yes, sir. And also furthering my own career. in
For your
school.
career. Oh. If you weren't married to your present wife, would you be moving to Rutherford County?
Currently, I mean, I would consider it
Consider it, but it would not be. You're living with her mother, correct?
for right now. Yes.
Okay. You mentioned something about about Larkin being bullied. Was that something that had happened but was addressed?
Whenever we picked her up at school that day, we did contact her teacher, homeroom teacher. I later had further conversation with the school myself because I realized that it didn't follow up the chain of command and there was still an issue.
Okay. Well, when you moved to Rutherford County, despite what you may have had in a conversation with the mother of your child, what did you think was going to happen with this 50-50 split?
I'm unsure because originally we had offered to help move as well. Help them move, help her move, the mother move. And other than that, I know there would be some drive time. And
So in your mind, it was better for her to have that drive time than for you to have the drive time.
I thought that due to the traffic patterns and the fact that she worked in Franklin, it would be best. It would be easier.
But in any event, you knew that when you moved to Rutherford County to be near your new wife's family and the economic advantages you had, that it was going to, with this 50-50 split that you have in alternating weeks, it was going to mean your child, whoever had to drive, was going to be in a car for an hour every day in the morning and an hour every day in the afternoon. You knew that was pretty much a given, wasn't it?
Yes.
That you felt like that was in her best interest.
I think given some of the outcomes, I thought it would be a small sacrifice for better opportunity.
A small sacrifice for her to make.
For the parent.
Yeah, but your child's the one who's having to drive to and from an hour in the morning and an hour at night, right? In the
Yes, sir.
afternoon. Was Larkin involved in any kind of extracurricular activities?
No, sir.
Wasn't involved in sports of any kind or anything like that?
No, sir.
Oh, like you can step in.
Motion to ask for this order on the enrollment. There was an argument made by father that he is PRP. PRP's address that's what we follow for school zoning. And as stated, there is a statute on point that says when the schedule is to reside in equal amount, or for the child to reside in equal amount, the address of either parent may be used to determine this school zoning. And Your Honor, we would make the argument that this is a case of, we're not asking that you determine if the move is outside of the relocation statute. We're not asking that you determine anything.
You did say that in your pleadings, didn't you?
In my original.
You did argue that it was alleged that it was more than 50 miles in violation of that was part of your civil contempt in the petition you filed. May not in your motion today, but it was in your original.
Yes, Your Honor. We're not asking for a final hearing today. We're asking that the 2024-2025 academic school calendar zoning be ordered by you and looked at in the best interest of the child. There are state regulations that state that school bus routes shall not be more than 90 minutes. Most counties in the state of Tennessee try to keep their bus routes under an hour because it can affect the child. It can affect the child having to make them wake up earlier. It can affect the amount of time that they have home with their families or the amount of time that they have to do homework or just to eat dinner.
Is your client going to move to Murfreesboro?
Your Honor, I do not believe that my client has any.
You know, for example, that it's going to be an hour's drive in the morning and an hour's drive in the afternoon for wherever I put this child in school. She's going to have an hour's drive with this 50-50 split. That's the point I'm making. It doesn't matter whether I put her in Murfreesboro or I put her here in Cheatham County. She's going to have to suffer the same regardless because of his move to Rutherford County.
Yes, Your Honor, and we understand that, and it's an unfortunate situation no matter how this ruling occurs. What we would say is due to the relationships this child has formed here, due to the fact that the child has been enrolled in Cheatham County schools since starting schools, due to the fact that mother has a home that she owns, this is where she has been. The child has had some issues at school when it comes to making friends, and there are concerns of putting the child in a new school while there's pending litigation, which could possibly cause the child to have to switch school districts in the middle of the year, Your Honor. So we would just ask that the court recognizes father did not make this move or change to this school for the best interest of the child. We are under the assumption that the hardships such as the length in the car, the amount of time in the car, the relationships the child has formed, and many, many other reasons that the best interest wasn't taken into account when making this move. And Your Honor, we just believe it's best to keep continuity in the child's life Mother has a stable home, the school is stable, the child is comfortable. And so we would just ask that for the 2024-2025 academic school year, the child remain here while this pending litigation is taking place.
Thank you.
Be pending 6 months, this case might be pending 2 years. I mean, we don't know. And for the child to start school, if we have a hearing in February, then we have, and Your Honor rules for the father, she's going to move in the middle of the school year. Now is the opportune time. This is a new school. Everybody at that school will be new. It's not like there's been kids that have been there since they were in kindergarten. They have their cliques, they have their friends. This is the opportune time for the child to start school. The mother agreed for the father to be the primary residential parent in 2019. Plan was modified in 2023. That was not asked to be changed by the mother. Your Honor, my client's been married to his wife since 2022. So this was not a decision that was made simply because he married somebody whose mother lives in Murfreesboro. This was a decision that was a thoughtful decision. Whether we like it or not, finances dictate a lot of our lives. I mean, it's just, we can't live and we can't provide for our child if we don't have financial opportunities. So a financial opportunity presented itself. The father has the opportunity to improve his position in his given field, and he has an opportunity to live in a home that has more to offer the child. And step parents, step grandparents, they can play an important role in this child's life. The child can't even be left alone with her own grandmother. So fortunately, there's someone to step up and help. The mother, it appears, back less than a year ago, needed help because she didn't have help. And the stepmother and the father picked the child up from school when the mother couldn't. So it's not that the father's trying to deprive the mother of any time. It's not that the father's trying to put a hardship on the child. Certainly, the father's attempting to make the best of the situation at hand. And the situation at hand is there is an opportunity that can help the child. Rutherford County schools are good schools. Rutherford County is one of the fastest growing counties in the entire state.
Proof for the court to establish those facts.
Well, that's true.
Rather than people's opinions and hearsay.
That's true, but I think Your Honor could probably take judicial notice of the growth in Rutherford County. And Your Honor, you're right. If the parents continue to exercise equal time, this child's going to be in the car. There's no doubt about it. I heard mother's attorney argue that bus routes they try to keep him under 90 minutes. This child won't be in the car 90 minutes. It's very unlikely with the flow of traffic. I lived out in the boonies way back in the olden days. And I mean the boonies. I got up at the crack.
Take the horse-drawn carriage to get you to school.
Well, now, Judge, it wasn't that far back. But I was on the bus every bit of an hour. And I survived. And I don't like it, but, I kind of see a time. It's a downtime. You're listening to the radio. Maybe you're reading a book. Maybe you're just having communication that parents and children don't often have time to do. Maybe you're talking about the day's events. The father has the more stable home. The mother's living with a man she's known less than or about a year, and who's not working, who's tasked with taking this child from school to home alone with the child. That's not necessarily a stable environment. And I would ask the court to consider that. This is not a final hearing. The court will get to hear more at another point in time to determine if the schedule should remain in effect. We're not asking for it to change. We want the mother to have time. But Your Honor, The father did everything he knew to do. He spoke with the mother about it. She said she was she said, okay, what can I do to help? And then she changed her mind. She had a change of heart some 3 months later, but everything was already in the works.
Ask this child how she felt about it.
Yes, Your Honor. The child, it's been discussed with the child. The child's like, I think both parties would say 1 minute she's excited, the next she's nervous. I mean, it's pretty normal. Kids change schools. It's a situation where, ideally they'd both live in the same county, but to think that that's necessarily going to happen from beginning to end. She was little when goodness, she must have been about 5 years old when they divorced. She was a little girl. She's still young. But Your Honor, I'd ask Your Honor to look at the case Barrett versus Killings. This is a case that's extremely on point. This is a Court of Appeals case at Nashville, and I'll pass this up if you like. This is a case, Your Honor, wherein the mother was the primary residential parent. Both parties lived in Murfreesboro, of all places. The mother moved to Lafayette, Tennessee. The father, in that case, asserted that it was more than 50 miles, and it was right at or just slightly under 50 driving miles. And the father said the relocation statute was triggered, and that the parties had joint decision-making. Same thing that was asserted here. Opposing counsel can try to walk back the fact that she's relying on the relocation statute in the petition, but Judge, she's relying on the relocation statute in the petition. At the trial court, the dad argued more than 50 driving miles. Mom argued that the measurement should be radial miles. And at the end of the hearing, the trial court stated that the relocation statute applied and that there should have been a clear agreement about switching schools. In that case, they didn't have an agreement at all. And upon that, the court said if the mother stayed in Murfreesboro, the parenting plan would remain in effect. If the mother moved, then the father would have sole decision-making regarding education. So then, of course, he would have chosen for the child to stay in Murfreesboro school. The mother appealed, and the Court of Appeals addressed, what's the distance you measure? Is it driving distance or is it radial miles? And the court held it's radial miles. It's straight line distance. In this case, we have a little over 44, I think it's 44.5 radial miles. So we're under the 50-mile requirement for the relocation statute. And the court went on to state that the trial court erred in utilizing a best interest analysis for the child in that case, and determining whether TCA 366108 is triggered by the mother's relocation to Lafayette. And the analysis was, they talked about driving distance versus radial distance. But at the conclusion, the Court of Appeals found radial distance was the measurement. And if the relocation statute isn't triggered, best interest doesn't come into play. This is so on point. So, Your Honor, I know we don't like the child being in the car that long. I think we all understand that, but sometimes circumstances are such that I don't know how you avoid it, especially in Nashville these days. Nashville's changed a lot, and you could move to off Haywood Lane and you'd hit traffic, but you'd be, used to be 20, 30 minutes. So the more stable environment is the father's home, the father's the PRP. We're asking the court to allow this child to continue to be enrolled in the Rutherford Collegiate Prep School. If it's not working, when we come back, they can show Your Honor it's not working. But this is before school starts, and this child starting school with everybody else who's starting school at this school, we believe is the appropriate choice. Thank you.
All right, well, I'm going to take a recess and read this case, and I'll come back and give you my decision. These decisions any easier, that they're impossible or that they're difficult, but it does make it it does make it trying for me to have to try to figure out what to do. The two of you agreed to a parenting plan that says you have equal residential time. In addition to that, on two different parenting plans, Mrs. Bagwell agreed to have Mr. Bagwell serve as the primary residential parent. You read if you read the parenting plan language, primary residential parent is a jurisdictional issue. It is, in other words, it is for purposes of, if I can find it, primary residential parent or custodian for other legal purposes. Child or children are scheduled to reside the majority of time as designated in Section 1A. The parent is designated as the primary residential parent is also known as the custodian solely for purposes other than applicable state and federal laws. If the parents are listed as joint decision-making, then for which you are, then for purposes of obtaining health or other insurance, they shall be considered as joint custodians. This designation does not affect either parent's rights or responsibilities under this parenting plan. So the designation of a primary residential parent has some weight for purposes of jurisdiction. Usually it has to do with where the child is to be enrolled in school, and that brings us to our present situation. The parties in this case agreed to an equal residential schedule and equal decision making. And as a result of that, I'm now faced with the argument that they didn't agree, or at least Mrs. Bagwell says they did not agree. She did not agree to the child's education or school being changed. I have issues regarding both of those positions. In particular, Mr. Bagwell's decision to move to Rutherford County is, in my opinion, not, and I don't mean this in any way derogatorily, but I think that it's clear that the decision to move to Rutherford County is motivated by his new wife and her extended family and the opportunities that it presents for him to be able to relocate and find a job. But the law allows him to move without any kind of restrictions if it's within 50 miles of her residence. And the proof in this case establishes that it's below 50 miles from his residence currently to where she lives. The case that Ms. Salinas cited, this Barrett versus Killings, is mainly about whether or not the violation of that 50-mile radius triggers the application of the parental relocation statute and whether the court can then consider the best interest. This is not a case today where I am required to consider the best interest of the child in making this decision, although I will, but I'm not required to by statute. Instead, I don't think this case has any real application to what I have to decide today. There is a petition that has been filed by Mrs. Bagwell or Miss Bagwell seeking to modify the prior parenting plan to have her designated as a primary residential parent and to have a different residential schedule enacted, whereby, if I recall correctly, has the child a predominant period of time. Now, that may be just the pleading she's filed, but at least that's what the case is that's pending before me, or before one of the other judges anyway. So what I am faced with is that ultimately in 6 months or so, as Ms. Salinas pointed out, we may be back trying the issue of who is going to be the primary residential parent and what's the schedule going to be. So do I whatever order I put down is going to likely be something that will have to be reconsidered at that hearing. Based upon the law and the primary residential parent designation, it is this court's finding that Mr. Bagwell's residence is to be considered the primary residence of the child, even though they have an equal sharing of that. And therefore, even though they have equal opportunity or equal decision making, that his enrollment of the child in school after discussing it with Ms. Bagwell and at least her tentative agreement to some fashion of that would authorize this court to find that the child should continue to be enrolled in it. I do that for a couple of reasons. One of them is this is a new school, so that I considered the fact, having grown up when I was a child, my father worked construction in the South, and we traveled in every state in the South. And I never started a school year and finished a school year in the same school. I always was the new kid in school. I'm not sure if that helped me or if it traumatized me and made me who I am one way or the other, but it's not much fun to have to go into a new school and be the new kid. And I strongly consider that. And this may change depending on what happens. Because in my opinion, I'm not sure that either of these parents is really considering the best interest of the child. So I'm going to appoint a guardian ad litem for this child. Ms. Leslie Wright, if she will accept it, will be designated. She's an attorney locally. I'm going to appoint her as the guardian ad litem. She will be authorized to investigate and have both sides will cooperate, giving her all information they can about the situation. I want to know about this child's having been bullied at school here in Cheatham County, whether or not there was any other issue that would have affected her ability here. I want to know more about the school. I don't know anything about this brand new school other than it's a brand new school and it's a collegiate prep school or whatever, may be a great advantage for the child. But making a final decision in this case is not easy when you don't have all of that information. And I say this from Ms. Bagwell, this is not a final decision on whether your daughter goes to school and whether she will continue to go to school in Murfreesboro. And I hate to do it if I may later ultimately change it. But the law is that, and you agreed to him be the primary residential parent, and the real only significance for a primary residential parent in this court's opinion, where there's an equal shared residential schedule and joint decision-making, is the resident's classification for jurisdiction for school and other purposes. And for that reason, since that has been agreed to and it is not being sought to be changed at this point in this hearing, then Mr. Bagwell's home will be considered to be that residence. But again, Mr. Bagwell may have a great extended new family. I hope it does work out well for you and it's a great advantage for you. But, you know, you've now placed upon the mother of this child the burden of having to drive her to and from Murfreesboro. When the child is not in school, the parties will each exchange during the summer. When the child's not in school, they'll exchange. I don't know how they're doing it now, but whoever's receiving the child will come to the other one's home to pick the child up. So we'll have to come pick the child up from you, and you go to his house to pick the child up from him when your weeks change. Once school starts, I am suspending the child support order that was put down where she's been required to pay him $74 a month, if I understand correctly. Is that right? That will be suspended because she now bears the burden of having to drive to and from Murfreesboro until there's a final hearing in this case on a daily basis, trying to get this child to and from school. I will consider in the further hearing of this case the transportation costs, regardless of who it is that bears that transportation in the calculation of child support down the road. So that if the situation stays the same, there may be a change in the child support situation as well. In addition to that, I want both parties to cooperate in trying to get this child acclimated to this new school. I've really wrestled with this decision. It's not been an easy one. I see merit on both of your arguments. The stability of leaving your daughter here in the Cheatham County schools is something that I've really had a hard time resisting. But by the same token, the law is the law regarding primary residential parent status. And following that law, I'm simply saying that on a temporary basis, this is the way it's going to be until the final hearing. Any questions?
You say the guardian ad litem.
Leslie Wright. Now, that's if she'll accept it. If for some reason she declines, then I'll find someone else. But my usual go-to is Vicki Furlong Smith, and she's had several cases, and I have appointed her recently on 2 or 3 in Dixon. So I don't want to overload her in that scenario, but Ms. Wright is right here in town, and it should be easy for her to acclimate herself. So.
Yes, sure.
All right. Anybody have any questions before we adjourn?
No, Your Honor, I'll prepare the order.
All right. I think you're both good parents. I think you both love your daughter, but I think sometimes you think about it from a selfish standpoint too. It's easy to say it's in your daughter's best interest to move her to Murfreesboro when she's with you, but when she's being taken away from the friends and family that she's known all of her life here, or at least most of her life here in Cheatham County, that becomes a little bit more traumatic. And it's not an easy thing to do when you're 11 years old. So I hope you'll all consider that, and we will deal with that. And the reason I've appointed a guardian ad litem is to ensure that your daughter's best interest is considered in the final analysis of this case. Not your best interest, not his best interest, but your daughter's best interest. And that's really should be the pole star, the guiding light for any of these kinds of cases. But it also is, we're sometimes hamstrung by the fact that, you know, you're going to live, the law says you can live wherever you want to in the state of Tennessee or any place in the country, as long as you comply with the law regarding parental location. You've complied because you've moved within a period of time. You may have some situation going on in your home with this other individual you're now with. Don't know anything about him. At the final hearing, I expect I'm going to hear quite a bit about it, because I'm sure in the discovery process that'll all come out. But you got to think about what you're exposing your daughter to in that scenario as well. They're going to argue that they've got more stability and extended family. So you might think about that between now and that time. I would hope that perhaps you two can resolve this by an agreement that can continue to have both of you maximize your influence and your participation in your daughter's life. And, you know, it sounds like to me in the past, you've gotten along pretty well as long as he was living here, but people move on. They don't stay single. And, you know, he has every right to remarry. And I know nothing about his new wife, but I think it is a situation where he makes the argument that he's going to have more stability, more opportunity. If he and his wife get cross with his mother-in-law, he may get kicked out on the street. So I'm assuming that's another factor we'll deal with down the road. So in any event, Ms. Salinas will draw the order, make sure that we get a copy of that to Ms. Wright. And let's try to get this thing ready for a hearing, so that if we do have to have a hearing, we can try to get it in that date in December or something, so that if we had to change the school again, we could do it in midterm. So, all right. Anything else before
This case was never about just miles on a map. It was about two parents making life-changing decisions and one child caught in the middle. Okay? The court made one thing clear from the start: the law matters more than emotions. Even with a Worcester's parenting schedule, the father's status as primary residential parent carried legal weight, especially when it came to school jurisdiction. And under Tennessee law, because the move was under Worcester miles, the relocation statute simply didn't apply. But here's where this case got complicated. The judge didn't blindly side with either parent. Instead, he openly questioned both. He acknowledged that the father's move was largely driven by remarriage, finances, and extended family, not necessarily by the child's established life in Cheatham County. At the same time, the mother's objections came after tentative cooperation, which weakened her legal position. And then came the turning point. Okay. The judge said something powerful. I'm not sure either parent is truly considering the child's best interest. That statement alone changed the tone of the courtroom. As a result, a guardian ad litem was appointed, a clear signal that the court wanted an independent voice focused solely on the child. Yes, the child will attend the new school temporarily. Yes, child support was suspended to offset transportation burdens. But no, this was not a final victory for either side. This ruling was a pause, not a conclusion. The judge made it clear future hearings could reverse everything depending on what the guardian uncovers: bullying, adjustment issues, emotional strain, or instability in either household. And the real message of this case is simple but heavy. Kant legal rights don't erase emotional consequences. Data winning today doesn't guarantee winning tomorrow. And most importantly, a child's best interest is not defined by convenience, finances, or new beginnings. This case isn't over. It's just entering its most critical chapter.